so much good film for Steve to show everybody. LJ Cryer. For this group, for Cryer, Guy Santos, show Steve Kerr something. And skip pass got to Will Richard. That's beautiful. He drove. Guy down the lane. Post and open three. Got it! Okay, who's going to convince him to do that? You think they're going to do it? It's in L.A. It is. It's on U.S. soil. They haven't said no yet, right? Jackson Rowe laying it up and in. They cycle it out to Duop Reef. And then stolen away. Richard with those long arms. And look at the rookie Saar. North Carolina, by the way. Then Winston-Salem State. That's where Devontae Cook played his ball. Two different places. Quentin Post.
A long time ago. They haven't turned the ball over since. They could stay under 20.
That's Spencer working with Post again. A three. He got it!
Do it again. Why not?
High pick and roll again. It's Cryer with the open three. Pat Spencer guarding the 7-footer. It's Sissoko, long rebound. LJ Cryer comes back for it. And running to Richard. Free arm was warding off Quentin Post and called for that foul. That's Spencer for the lead. Went from disaster to delight for Portland. LJ Cryer for three. Oh, man. I think he's played it in. And high screen with Post. Now Cryer going to work on Sissoko. Get the lane, little floater, and he got it. LJ Cryer.
How does your shot feel right now? Obviously, we saw the results tonight, but just going through your surgery in the offseason and then getting to this point right now, how confident do you feel with that outside shot?
Good. I think the surgery and everything ended up being like a really good thing for me, because I was in rehabbing and bringing my thumb back into my shot, made me really slow down and notice everything about my jump shot, and that helped me a lot. And I know I joke about working out, playing with my left hand a lot, but it was stuff about teaching myself how to shoot with my left hand made me be really detail-oriented on how to shoot, and I think that helps when bringing it back to my right.
That first five that you guys started with tonight obviously had a lot of success after Jimmy came last year. How natural did that carryover feel from last season to this game tonight for you?
Yeah, just a couple months in between, so... No, yeah, it felt good just being out there with that group. I like what we are able to do, the things that are created when we out there together. I guess it's just a really special group.
This team asks you to be the point of attack defender, hit the three ball, do a lot of little things in places. How do you sort of see that trust from your staff and teammates?
I think that's a big part of what got me on the floor consistently in the position that I am. So if that's what got me there, I got to keep doing it. And over the summer, I've gotten better at different stuff too, being able to have a better idea of what this team needs me to be. So just embracing that and bringing it every night.
How much does having more of a cemented role not just help with your confidence, but also just knowing where your shots are going to come from and knowing what's expected of you?
I mean, nothing's too concrete in the NBA, but just being prepared for anything is always, but definitely more stability, knowing, having an idea of what your role is going to be makes stuff a lot simpler.
Moses, your guys' first 5 made shots in the second half were all three-pointers. How do you compare the floor spacing and outside shooting threat that this team has, maybe even compared to teams that you were on in the first 4 years?
I think we got a really selfless team. So when it's starting with Steph, but also starting with Jimmy, just the way that Steph plays, he creates so much for everybody else, even by looking for his own shot. It makes everybody else open, if that makes sense. And then Jimmy, just getting in the paint, attacking and being able to finish, but also creating a lot for everybody else. So that kind of sets the trend for the rest of the team, and that's where the open shots come from, the kick, swing, swing.
The way you guys are moving the ball out there, you guys look like it's kind of early, it's just preseason, but do you feel like there's like a sense of urgency that you guys are kind of like really focused for this season to come about?
Definitely. That's my favorite part about being here in this organization, is that It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're trying to win a championship. So that creates urgency, that creates focus, detail, and I think that's all characteristics of being a professional. And I think that's the feeling out there on the floor. You're out here with professionals, not kids out here trying to figure out, different things or whatever. It's professionals, and the goal is clear.
We asked Steph and Steve about it, but how did it feel playing with Al Horford tonight?
It was cool. I've been playing with him all week, but I like what he does to the offense, adding that three-point threat from that position, him being able to pop, and then the stuff he does. He, like I say, professional. That dude's been in the league most of my life, so he has that feel, he has that presence on the floor, so it's good to just be out there with him.
Kuminga's comments, and Steve Kerr's response, hint at ongoing tension. Will he keep fighting for minutes? The standoff between Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors quietly lingered throughout the entire offseason. Now, even after the dust has settled, signs of tension remain, and his fight for consistent minutes may be far from over. Kuminga, the former number 7 overall pick, reportedly turned down multiple offers from the Warriors before finally agreeing to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract just ahead of the 2025-26 NBA season. The deal, which includes a team option, a term his camp strongly opposed, raised eyebrows across the league. The fact that the Warriors got that clause in the contract suggests the team held the leverage. And while both sides eventually reached an agreement, it's hard to ignore the friction that simmered behind the scenes, especially when listening to head coach Steve Kerr's carefully chosen words. Steve Kerr's honest take on the Kuminga saga. Kerr, whose influence carries significant weight in Golden State, was at the center of the months-long dispute. Some insiders even criticized his role, suggesting that Kuminga's lack of a clearly defined role under Kerr may have contributed to the standoff in the first place. But when asked directly about how he viewed the contract saga now that it's over, Kerr struck a diplomatic tone. "This is the business we're in. I've never held it against any player for trying to secure the best deal they can," Kerr told The Athletic's Anthony Slater. "As a coach, and as someone who played in this league, part of my job is to help players grow into the best version of themselves. Put them in a position to succeed. Help them sign good contracts. These careers don't last forever." While his words were measured, Kerr's neutral stance is telling, especially considering how much the stalled negotiations limited the Warriors' flexibility this offseason. The team was unable to make other key moves while the Kuminga situation remained unresolved. Kerr added, "We've dealt with much bigger contracts than this. I don't think it's a big deal. These things happen in sports. Contract disagreements are part of the landscape. Still, it's hard to ignore the subtext. This wasn't just a negotiation. It was a statement. And now that it's done, the real question is, where does Kuminga go from here? Kuminga's future, still uncertain? Despite signing the extension, there are still whispers that Kuminga, now 22, may not see his long-term future in Golden State. The inclusion of a team option speaks volumes. The Warriors maintain control over his fate, while he's left needing to prove himself all over again. For Kuminga to shift the narrative, two things need to happen. He must solidify his place in the rotation. Despite flashes of brilliance and elite athleticism, Kuminga has yet to earn consistent, reliable minutes under Kerr. Whether that's due to defensive lapses, inconsistency, or lack of trust from the coaching staff, it remains a barrier. He has to produce, and produce now. With veterans like Stephen Curry and Draymond Green still at the core, the Warriors aren't in rebuilding mode. Every minute matters, and Kuminga needs to show that he can impact winning, not just with highlight plays, but with smart, disciplined basketball. The upside is clear. Kuminga has shown he can guard multiple positions, finish in traffic, and create mismatches. But until he puts it all together, and earns the full confidence of his coach, he'll remain in a precarious position. More than just business. Ultimately, this situation reflects something deeper than contract logistics. It's about identity and direction, both for Kuminga and for a Warriors team that's trying to walk the line between contending now and preparing for the future. Kuminga's talent isn't in question, but his fit in Kerr's system, and the organization's long-term plans, still are. The contract may be signed. The summer may be behind them. But the real story? It's still unfolding, and Kuminga's next steps will determine whether this chapter ends with a breakout or a breakup. Trust still in question? Behind the scenes, league sources suggest that while the Warriors are publicly downplaying the contract dispute, trust between Kuminga and the organization hasn't fully recovered. The tension wasn't just about money, it was about role, usage, and long-term vision. Kuminga's camp reportedly grew frustrated over the lack of a clear developmental plan, particularly during the 2024-25 season, when he was in and out of the rotation despite strong performances in stretches. The inconsistency in his minutes, combined with minimal opportunities in late-game situations, became a point of contention, especially as younger players on other teams were given the freedom to grow through mistakes. The tension wasn't one-sided either. Within the Warriors' coaching staff, there were concerns about Kuminga's defensive discipline, off-ball focus, and ability to stay engaged when he wasn't featured offensively. While his physical tools are undeniable, there's a belief that he hasn't always embraced the nuances of team basketball that Golden State's system demands. These internal questions fed directly into the negotiation standoff, and likely explain why the team insisted on keeping the team option in the contract. The message was clear: we'll commit to you if you fully commit to the system. A critical year ahead. With the 2025-26 season underway, Kuminga is now entering the most pivotal stretch of his young career. If he thrives, both statistically and within the Warriors structure, he could shift the entire narrative, cement his place in the rotation, and potentially become a long-term piece alongside the next generation of Warriors talent. But if the inconsistencies continue, or if his role diminishes again, the contract's team option gives Golden State a way out. And in that case, Kuminga could find himself back on the trade market, possibly packaged in a deal to retool around Curry in what could be the final years of his prime. Internally, some around the league believe that the Warriors' front office may already be preparing for that possibility. While the team has made no public statements suggesting a trade is imminent, rival executives are watching closely. If Kuminga's minutes shrink again or if tensions resurface, expect trade speculation to accelerate, especially if Golden State hovers around the middle of the Western Conference standings. The bigger picture for Golden State. Kuminga's situation also reflects a broader dilemma facing the Warriors: the tension between past, present, and future. With Stephen Curry still playing at an elite level, the front office is under pressure to compete now. But with aging stars and a tightening salary cap, the team must also develop young talent that can take the torch. So far, balancing those two goals has been far from smooth. James Wiseman is already gone. Moses Moody has yet to carve out a consistent role. Kuminga, once considered the highest upside prospect of the group, is now at a crossroads. And how his season unfolds will say a lot about whether the Warriors can truly bridge eras, or whether they'll be forced to pick a direction sooner than expected. For Kuminga, this is more than a contract year. It's a test of maturity, resilience, and fit. For the Warriors, it's a reflection of deeper strategic tension, one they can no longer ignore. And while the headlines may have quieted for now, the questions remain. Can Jonathan Kuminga evolve fast enough to become a cornerstone? Or has the clock already started ticking on his time in Golden State? The answers are coming, on the court, not on paper.